All right, welcome to the third installment of the 2018 Winter Webinar Training Series. Today's class is on the TREE I.V and FSeries. Yeah, that didn't work. All right, so today we are going to go over the basic features and overview, kit configurations, application method, cleanout procedure, specialty application, parts, when to use the IV systems, and a sample application at the end. Again, the sample application is mainly to emphasize the way to calculate your number of injection sites. Starting with the TREE I.V, this operates at quite a bit of a lower air pressure than the QuickJet Air. The TREE I.V runs from 30 psi up to 60 psi. You reach that by the bike pump that comes in the kit. So it's just a bike pump that hooks up to the silver piece that's pointing down off the cap. And then the brass piece on top is the blow-off. When that makes its noise, that's when you know that you've reached 60 psi. The gauge on the bike pump will also tell you what pressure you've reached. But again, somewhere between 30 to 60, very rarely do you need to actually get it to 60. 40 to 50 is usually enough to get it into the tree. The bottle itself is a 1 liter bottle. It's basically the same type of bottle that comes with your QuickJet Air or your QuickJet. But because you need to pressurize the inside of it with the bike pump, you want to not add any more than 600 milliliters worth of product to the bottle. You need to leave room for pressurizing the air inside. You get a precise dose from the IV systems, mainly because you are pre-measuring your product and then adding that to the bottle or bottles, depending on how many you need to complete your tree. And then you run the bottles until they're empty. There are fewer injection sites. Again, DVH is divided by 3 for IV systems, unlike the QuickJet or QuickJet Air, which is DVH divided by 2. So again, fewer injection sites. You get multi-site injection with these types of kits. You can do up to 4 injection sites off a bottle to start. There are also expansion kits to up the TREE I.V from 4 to 8 to 12 to 16, depending on the amount of volume that you are trying to put into the tree and number of injection sites you need. It's easy maintenance. It's easy to clean this thing out. It's durable, reliable, and it's only $20 to rebuild the cap. Thankfully, with the new ball valves, there aren't any O-rings inside of there to replace. So that's even less things that you need to rebuild in the wintertime. Kit configurations, you can get the TREE I.V in a few different forms. We do sell a single pack. It comes with just the bottle, the cap, 1 set of lines to the ball valve assemblies, the 4 ball valve assemblies and needles. It does not come with the bike pump. So this is more of an addition to your current 2-pack or Pro kit. So the 2-pack is 2 sets of bottles, or 2 bottles, 2 caps, 2 sets of lines, so the 1/4-inch line that runs to the banjo fitting, and then the 4 5/32 lines that run from the banjo fitting to the ball valves, the banjo fittings, the splitter. It comes with 8 ball valve assemblies, so you can run 8 injection sites at once. Right from the start with your 2-pack kit. The Pro kit is double that, so you get 4 bottles, 4 caps, 4 of those sets of lines, so the 1/4-inch to the banjo and then the 5/32 to the ball valve assemblies. You get 16 ball valve assemblies, so you can do 16 injection sites off the bat, plus it comes with a QuickJet. Going over some of the parts. I put this up there. This will be turned into the PDF. It should be on the Litmus already, so you can easily download this or take a screenshot of it so you have a parts list for whenever you need to go to your distributor and order some new parts for your IV systems. But it starts off right at the top with the pressure relief valve. This has been an upgrade from the 2016 to the 2017 model. The nice thing about the pressure relief valve, it's got one less O-ring to replace. The O-rings are easier to get to, and it actually only takes 3 full rotations to open it up. The old deluxe valve cartridge, the brass piece, which we'll see on the next slide, had many smaller O-rings. It was kind of tough to get to them, and you had to just keep turning it. You never knew when it was actually going to open. Other than that, the cap has stayed the same. You got the cap assembly, the internal bottle parts, the 60 psi blow-off. So again, when you reach 60 psi, if you try to put any more pressure in the bottle, the blow-off is going to allow air pressure to escape. The bike pump, the 1 liter bottle, so the pressure quick disconnect kit, so the part that threads into the cap, and then the part that goes on the end of the tube from the bike pump, so that you can actually connect the bike pump to the cap. The 2016 and prior version, again, really the only difference is the deluxe valve cartridge at the top, which opens and closes the cap itself to let the product flow out. Again, that's the older model. We still do have those, so you can order replacement deluxe valve cartridges for your existing IV systems. At some point, we are going to be out of those, and at that point, the pressure relief valve is not retrofitting the old valves or the old caps, so you would have to buy a new TREE IV cap once we're out of deluxe ball valves or deluxe valve cartridges. But again, all the other parts are exactly the same. A couple things that aren't pictured in that, we have the ball valve assemblies, and they come in 2 forms. There's the 2 of the ball valves out of 4 per bottle. 2 of them have straight in push to connects, and 2 of them have 90-degree push to connects now. The 90 degrees are intended to be on the longer lines reaching around the tree. The straight ins intended to be on the shorter 2 lines that are to be on the side of the tree closer to the bottle to reduce kinking. There's the TREE IV 5/32 manifold, better known as the banjo fitting. It's that black piece that connects the 1/4-inch tube to the 4 5/32 lines. There's the 4-pack of needles, the 1/4-inch tubing, and then the 5/32 tubing as well. Moving on to the F-Series. Basic features of the F-Series. Again, it's an IV system, so it works under the same principle as the TREE IV, but the cap and bottles are all rated for higher pressure, so you can actually pump the F-Series bottles up to 120 psi. We did some internal testing, and they didn't blow up until 240 psi, so you should feel safe pumping it up to 120. Not that there's any real need to ever get it that high. Again, most of the time, just pumping it up to 60 to 70 to 80 psi with the F-Series is going to be fine, and that will leave you room in case it starts to get warmer out or drier out and uptake rates start slowing down. You can always reattach your bike pump and put a bit more pressure in there to kind of help force the product into the tree out of the bottle. The kit comes with 2 different size bottles. It comes with a 650 milliliter bottle and a 1.5 liter bottle. So again, more flexibility, allows you to use the smaller bottle when you're using less product, so you don't have to pump forever. Or if you're using a fungicide or a fertilizer and you have to dilute it, you do have the larger bottle, so you might not have to use 2 of the bottles to complete a tree. You could fit up to 1 liter of product in there, and then run the cap and the lines off of that to get all the products into the tree. Again, precise dosage because you're pre-measuring what you need to put into the tree and adding that to your F-Series bottles and then just running them dry. Again, same fewer injection sites, dBH divided by 3. You get multi-site injection. You can actually do 6 injection sites off the bat per bottle with the F-Series. It's easy maintenance. Again, just some O-rings, and the ball valve assemblies don't have any, so it's just O-rings for the cap and the bike pump. It's durable, reliable, and because of the slightly bigger O-rings, and it's $25 for a rebuild kit. F-Series comes in 5 different forms. You can get this as a single pack. Again, that's more of an add-on. It doesn't come with a bike pump or anything. It simply comes with a 1.5 liter bottle, the cap, the line, the hex PDFs, the splitter, and then 6 ball valve assemblies, 4 of which are 90-degree elbows for push-to-connects and 2 for the straight-ins, as well as the bottle stand. To get the whole kit, it comes as the F12 kit, which we released last May, maybe April, but that comes with 2 sets of bottles, so you get 2 of each size, 2 caps, 2 hex PDF splitters, 2 sets of lines, so the 1/4-inch line and then the 6 5/32 lines that you need to run to each of the ball valves. So 12 ball valve assemblies altogether, 8 of which are 90 degrees and the other 4 are straight-in push-to-connects. So again, the ball valves with the 90-degree push-to-connects are intended to run to the far side of the tree so that they don't kink. The straight-ins are intended to be on the shorter lines and keep those on the side of the tree closest to the bottle to reduce your kinking. The F12 also comes as the F12 Pro Kit. It's the same product, we've added a quick jet to it. And then last November at the TCI show, we launched the F18. So it's all the same material that's in the F12, you just get more of it. You actually get 3 sets of bottles, so 3.65s and 3 1.5 liter bottles. You get 3 caps, 3 sets of lines, including 3 hex PDSs, and 18 ball valve assemblies. So 2/3 of those would be the 90 degrees, and then the other third is straight-ins for push-to-connects. Again, so 3 of each, and then that comes as a Pro Kit, which is the F18 plus quick jet. Parts for the F-Series. The pressure relief valve, it's the same one that we upgraded the TREE I.V cap with, so 3 full rotations and it should open. The other main difference between the F-Series cap and the TREE I.V cap is the fill cap with washer. So when you're going from one tree to another or you need to add more product, you don't actually have to take the cap off the bottle with the F-Series. You can open the fill cap, and there's a bushing to connect the funnel that comes in your kit to that, so you can actually pour directly into the bottle through the cap. Saves threads on your bottle, so it saves wear and tear on that. Plus it's 120 PSI blow-off assembly, not a 60. And for anyone that wants to know, the caps between the IV system and the F-Series are not interchangeable, so you can't take an F-Series cap, put it on your existing 1 liter TREE I.V bottle, or vice versa. Because of the different pressure abilities of the bottles, we changed the thread so that you can't retrofit a TREE I.V kit with an F-Series cap. There's also the 2 different size bottles, again a 0.65 liter and a 1.5 liter bottle, as well as a larger bike pump to accommodate trying to fill the larger 1.5 liter bottle. The bike pump is retrofittable. It's the same push-to-connect that's on each cap, so if you do want to get a bigger bike pump, we do have one available now. Moving on to the hex PDS, it does come assembled. You don't have to worry about that. The 4 90-degree push-to-connects are the constantly live lines. So anytime you start flowing product through from the bottle to the ball valve assemblies, that's always going to come out of the 490 degrees. The 2 straight push-to-connects that you see that have a larger nut to them, they're also actually check valves. So if you only want to run 4 lines, you can take your 2 5/32 tubing out of those push-to-connects and they shut off. So you can run just 4 lines at a time, or put one in and get 5 lines, or put both of them in and have all 6 lines. And again, when in the kit, for each bottle or each set of 6 ball valve assemblies, 4 of them have the 5/32 90-degree ball elbow, and the other 2 have a straight in. The 90 degrees intended to go farther around the tree to reduce kinking. Troubleshooting either of the IV systems, you go to pressurize the bottle, so you have your product in there. You go to push down your bike pump, and the bike pump doesn't go anywhere. More than likely, you have a clogged check valve, which is the small white piece with the arrow pointing to it in the top almost center of your screen. That little white piece is a one-way check valve. It allows air pressure to come in, but it doesn't allow anything to go out the shorter tube, so that way it forces things down and up through the longer tube that goes out through the cap to the ball valve assemblies. So probably what happened is either some rain or liquid got down in there, a solid's clogging that tube. So basically you need to replace it or remove it and try to flush whatever's in that line out. You can simply pull it off. It's just a single barb. I do it all the time. Pull it off, push your bike pump down, flush whatever's in that tube out, and then just put the check valve back on it with the arrow pointing down. The other issue that typically happens with an IV system is that there's product not moving to one of the valve assemblies, one of the needles. So you want to check to make sure that your valve assembly is open. Make sure that either the tubes at the banjo fitting or the hex PDS are pushed in all the way, and also that they're pushed in all the way at your valve assemblies. And then also check to make sure that your needle's not clogged. Any of those things are going to basically stop the continuous flow. So if your ball valve is closed or your needle's clogged, it's not going to be able to let the air finish escaping through there to let the product through. If your tubes aren't fully connected, you're probably actually going to just be leaking product from either connection. Going over application methods, fairly similar to the QuickJet Air, which we covered last week. You want to start by measuring your diameter at breast height, so about 4.5 feet off the ground. And then you can use that number to calculate the proper dose of product. That's always going to be from the label. You're going to want to add your full dose to your IV bottles. Whether you have to split it up into multiple bottles depends on how much volume. And then you're going to drill and set your plugs, which is, again is DBH divided by 3. So fewer plugs than with the QuickJet Air or QuickJet. After that, you got your whole TREE IV bottle assembled with the cap. You want to pressurize it. Make sure you put all the valve assemblies, all the needles through the plugs, and then open up the valve assemblies at the tree, and then go back and open up the cap. So cleaning and maintenance, again, you want to run a clean jet through it at the end of each day or when you're going to switch between products. Most of the time, my clean jet mix is about 50-50. Sometimes out in the field, I'll have a waste bucket if there's no place to really rinse my needles, rinse my kits off. At a 50-50 ratio, the clean jet's not really going to have any kind of effect on the tree, so sometimes you can just actually flush the product into the tree. And then again, after the clean jet, you want to just run water, straight water through it to flush any of that isopropyl out. Typically use really low pressure, so 30, maybe 40 psi. And then once in a while you also want to rinse the valve assemblies out without the needles in there. Make sure that those push to connect stay clean. Allows for the needles to sit nicely in there. And then while you're rinsing them out without the needles, you can always run your needle cleanout tool through the needle. Special circumstances, just like with the quick jet, you have palm trees, which typically only need one injection site. Again, depending on variety and size of their trunk, you might need somewhere up to 4. And you want to drill deeper into the palm than you would your conifer or deciduous tree. For conifers, you again still want to do a drill, plug, and inject, in which case when you're setting up your IV bottle, you'll set everything up and actually bleed the lines to allow the product just to almost to the needle, and then shut it off, and then you're going to drill, plug, insert your needle, and open it so the product starts flowing, and you're going to move around the tree doing it that way. So again, have your needles bled so the product's just about ready to flow through the needle, and then drill, plug, insert your needle, and open the valve to let the product out. Best times to use the TREE IV systems, whether it's the original TREE IV or the FSeries, large volume applications, so fungicides, fertilizers, more than 100 milliliters per tree, certainly more than 50 milliliters per injection site. At that point, your quick jet air is going to be kind of time consuming, and you'll be filling that cavity up very quickly. Larger trees, so places that you're going to need more than 5 or 6 injection sites. At that point, or maybe 10 injection sites. At that point, you're looking at volumes of product that are pretty high. In which case, trying to put 5 milliliters in at a time is inefficient. Properties that have multiple trees that you can treat at the same time. So, say you're at a home like the one pictured, where you have 3 or 4 trees that are all about the same size, but they all only need one bottle. So that way you can set up multiple bottles on multiple trees, and then as one's draining, if you've set up all your bottles, you can actually go and drill and plug your next tree, so you can just keep leapfrogging around the property. And then when you're going to use high volumes, so again, you're using a fertilizer or fungicide, or you're working on a tree that requires a lot of triage or diluted triage. So when you're looking at adding more than 30, 40 milliliters per injection site. Products that are typically used with the IV systems, high volume formulations or dilutable formulations, so things that you're going to be adding water to, whether it's AceJet, Azosol, Triage, Triage G4, or Propofol Phosphojet, or Palm Jet MG and Minjet FE, our new fertilizer. So going through a sample application again, mainly just to reiterate that it's dBH divided by 3. We're actually going to treat an oak tree with oak wilt with Propofol. So this is one of our highest volume applications. So again, you're going to take your diameter, divide that by 3 to get your number of injection sites. In this case, it's going to be a 24-inch tree. So divide that by 3, you get 8 injection sites. So you could either use your standard TREE IV 2-pack, in which case you're just going to use both bottles, or you could use the FSeries and either split it up into the 2 larger bottles, and then just take the 2 5/32 tubes out of the push-to-connects on the PDS that are the check valves also. So high rate is 20 milliliters of Propofol, you're gonna want to dilute that with at least 40 milliliters of water, so at a 2-to-1 ratio of water to propofol, and that's per inch diameter. So for that 24-inch tree, you're going to be putting in almost 1,500 milliliters, so almost 1.5 liters. So again, reason to use that. Imagine trying to put 1,440 milliliters in 5 milliliters at a time. You're gonna just not be pleased with yourself. It's going to be a big waste of your day. So with that, we can open it up to questions. Again, there's the chat box that looks like from an Archie comic. You can always type your question there, or if you actually want to ask it out loud, feel free to just type that you have a question, and we can get you unmuted. See a lot of people starting to drop off. I know we're pushing up on the 30-minute mark, and hopefully it's a better day where you are than it is here. So if no one can think of any more questions right now, you can always email me or reach out to your regional tech manager. They always have great regionally specific answers, and also have extensive field work with all the equipment. So thanks for coming today. It's Tuesday. Next time I'll probably talk to most of you on Thursday, when we're going to talk about the arbor plug. So have a good rest of the day, and I'll talk to you all later this week.